The following podcast is a mass media production.
Hi, I'm Josh Galindo.
And I'm Krystal Galindo. Welcome to the Going Galindo Rugrats and Renovations podcast.
A lifestyle podcast where we will offer our experience and expertise in building real, lasting wealth through renovating and flipping homes.
And the chaos that comes with balancing a family of 6, leaving nothing unsaid.
Follow our wild ride we call life and apply our lessons to your own journey.
Good morning, honey.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm good today.
Today we have some pretty devastating news. And I will, I think the best way that I communicate is starting from the beginning.
Yeah. So,
last Monday I am at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually was having a pretty shitty morning, and in comparison it wasn't that shitty, but I was having a shitty morning with different things that were just breaking or missing or not working or whatever it was. And then I get home, oh man, and I call Krystal because we were supposed to be getting some news, and she wouldn't answer. And then she says she's on the phone, so I'm calling and calling and calling and calling. And I walk downstairs because I hear the garage open, and I'd never seen my wife that wrecked before. And she just kind of melts into my arms, and I knew that the answer was yes. And that was the day that I realized and found out that my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer. And we immediately called close friends over that were close.
And going through the same journey?
Yeah, and we can leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
To comfort us, to comfort Krystal, to hold Krystal. And obviously hearing that word, I think all of our demographic growing up, you hear that word, and the definition behind it is so catastrophic. I could tell you the only definition I have is I've lost my grandpa to that.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't think anything else other than the worst.
I mean, I lost mine to that too.
See? So that day happens, and I've had a lot of bad days in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the worst day of my entire life thus far. I suspect there'll be other days that are just as bad. But I don't really know how to communicate this out, and I think there's some explanations that are due from our side that I'm happy to step up and do and explain to people listening, because you've touched so many lives. You've inspired so many people. People have different opinions, different views, different thoughts. We'll have different emotions around this news. I think something that Krystal and I have jointly discussed surrounding this topic, and then we can get into the mechanics of it all. And then obviously if you want to jump in where you see fit, you can. Yeah. Every time that we see somebody new in our life, which is often, and we have a big reach, so we see new people every day. And when I would say new, it's not necessarily new, but people that don't have the news. So those people will qualify as new to us. So to have to go through and explain to them and tell them and relive the emotion and go back to the story and all of that, it's a painful, reoccurring experience that we have chosen a more efficient way to deliver that news to the masses, get it out, and communicate this way in social media. And actually, I've even seen other people that have gone through this journey, that's the way that they've decided to handle it. They're like, I'm just going to give updates on Facebook so that I don't get a text. And it's not that I don't want I want the text.
Right, yeah.
It's so that in the event I don't have the energy or the want or the mindset, mentality to respond to that text, those people still get updated.
I think it's not only that, it's also
I feel like if it's, the more I put it out there, the more positive vibes, the more prayers I'm going to get, the more people are going to be thinking about me and wanting better for me or good for me. And also, you know, I'm only 34. Like you don't even start getting mammograms till you're 40.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll raise awareness, or, you know, other people will
take it more seriously.
Yeah, their self-care more seriously.
And I think something that was big for us is, I think we're both going to try not to break down in tears on this episode.
I mean, I think I cried the last 7 days. I don't know if I could cry anymore.
I mean, I could cry on demand, and I know which button to push, but I try to stay away from that space.
Yeah.
But so our close friend that is on a similar journey comes over and says he's asked the universe or God why. And
why was this happening to them? Why were they going through it? Why?
Because it's a big fuck. It's like, why the fuck did this happen to me? Why the fuck did this happen to you? Like, there's not a better person on the planet than you, and it had to fucking happen to you. So he comes over and he says on Monday night, which we called them over on Monday morning.
Right. So a week ago today?
A week ago
yesterday?
Yeah. He goes, Josh, I found my why. And he didn't have to say it. I just knew what he meant. And I think what he was getting at was that the why for him was that they had already blazed that trail for us. So it put us in a better position. It gave us comfort. It gave us a little more information than we probably would have had otherwise. And he chalked that up in his world as, this is why it happened to us, so that I could be here for Krystal and Josh. And boy, you want to talk about two men fucking crying. Have someone come into your house the day after you get that news and have them tell you that. I was like, man, that is such a vulnerable, strong, powerful, selfless statement, you know? So that just gets you thinking. And, you know, then you start asking yourself, you know, how do we want to deal with it? And I suspect that with this platform that we have, that you specifically and me as a side bonus will be the why to somebody. Because if we didn't have them, we would have a whole lot more answers.
Right.
Or questions, excuse me.
Yeah.
We would have a lot more. It would have been an even more uncomfortable week. So, so that's kind of our justification for what we're doing. And I think, so I guess that's that. And then I'll let you speak, and then I'm going to jump topics and switch the energy, because that we've made a commitment to each other that we aren't going to be victims of this, that we will control it.
Yeah.
We will be in control of the one thing that we have control over, and that's our minds. I play that card very lightly because I'm not the one that has the problem. Although I have a problem, but let's be candid, realistic. Yeah. So it's maybe, I wouldn't say it's easier, but it's probably easier for me to be able to switch gears than it probably is for you. So I want to be gentle and sensitive to you, and but I also want to be charged and challenged with the task of keeping our minds in the right place, because that's the only thing that we have control over. So so we'll talk about that after, but go ahead, Sudie. Do you want to chime in?
Well, I was just going to say that, I mean, for anybody who, if they were to experience the same thing, I think that it's very important for them to understand that, that it's scary. But I think that for me, with my experience, I had to like really feel it, and it's being a victim to it, but I had to.
No, that's not that. No, it's not. You're feeling it. Everybody's entitled to feeling it.
Okay. Well, I had to feel it.
So you weren't a victim to it.
I had to feel it. And I wasn't able to really feel it that whole week because it was half the morning was trying to figure out how we get appointments before 2 weeks, because I'm not waiting 2 weeks.
Correct.
And then the afternoon is I'm going to get my, an Oscar or Academy Award for my acting skills around the kids, because they aren't allowed to know anything. They're just too young and they won't understand.
And I'd like to chime in there because I want to make it very clear that for those of you that are close friends that have kids that are just learning of this, I would ask that
your kids don't
when
need
you're
to know
talking
either.
around your kids, if we are the topic of conversation, that it's not brought up around the kids. The kids are not told about it. They don't understand. They don't comprehend. They don't have the same definitions of Krystal's case versus their 85-year-old grandpa's case. They do not understand. So please be very conscious of talking around your kids. Our kids do not know. Sorry, just want to make sure that was clear.
So I think the biggest thing was that I had to feel it, and I think that the biggest thing is that it's not a physical thing. It's basically a huge mind fuck, because I feel fine. I feel totally fine. And, when I first felt the lump, I went in June last year and they said it's a fibroid.
Which means?
Just like a fatty tissue, basically, which is nothing. And I went on just fine, no problems. And I've still had no problems. It just started to get bigger. So then I had to go for my follow-up, and then they immediately said that I needed a biopsy. And I, honestly, in my gut, I felt like it was nothing. I did. And I think that's what made it so catastrophic and so terrifying, is that, okay, so now this thing that was nothing for the last 6 months is now something. So now I'm 7 months behind on taking care of something that, is very life or death, I guess. Anyways, so that's all the feelings I was feeling. And, when we went to one appointment, we felt good. Then we go to another appointment for a second opinion, and it was awful.
That was the second worst day of my life.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
You go to a second opinion, you hope that they're going to tell you the same thing as the first opinion, so that you fit in this box and they know what to do. And that's not necessarily what happened. And so we were rushing around.
I think we should kind of communicate just a little bit, because if our intent is to be the wife for somebody listening, I think they should is understand the time. So we found out Monday. We had our first appointment Thursday.
Yeah, thanks to I tapped into all my resources.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's why putting this out there, keeping it your little secret, doesn't put you in a position to be helped.
No.
And nobody necessarily wants to have their hand out for help, but there's no shame.
My first appointment to find out anything was supposed to be tomorrow.
First appointment. Yeah. Krystal has seen 5 doctors.
Yeah.
From Monday to today. Krystal has had every single test that you can possibly get surrounding this diagnosis. We don't have all the results of those tests, but we've gotten every single test. Some people, unfortunately, which is systems as fucked up as it gets, won't even have seen a doctor until today. And that's where I want to stress about. You get this news, you put it out there, and you just start tapping into every relationship that you've got. You start begging and pleading, and there's no shame. There's no shame. You just straight ask. You ask, and then if you don't get what you need, you beg. And if you don't get what you need, you demand. And that's what we were making jokes, and I hate to make light of the topic here, but this thing fucked with the wrong couple. And I mean that. They don't know the fierceness of Krystal. And as sweet as she is, she's one determined, passionate young lady.
Yeah.
So anyway, so forgive me, I got off track there.
It's okay.
So Monday, diagnosis. Thursday, first appointment. And then they said, we walked in there, and we can get into maybe specifics in the next few episodes as far as what type of therapies there are. But we walk in and they tell us, take a pill and you're going to move on. They really made it seem like, oh, you got
surgery and pill.
Surgery and pill and you're done. And we were like, okay,
that's
obviously
what
this
I was
sucks.
hoping for. Yeah.
Obviously this is catastrophic. But
and stage 1.
But this is the best shit news we can get. If we're in the shitty news bucket, this is the best version of that news. So then we go to UCLA on Friday
to get the second opinion, which UCLA is supposed to be the best.
And then, go ahead and continue.
And they were saying along the same things, but once they did an exam on my lymph nodes, they immediately switched to saying that it's migrated and I'm probably stage 2 and you need to get a biopsy and now you need to do chemo or whatever treatment. They were offering a trial. I don't want to get too much into it because it's not all that entertaining and it's hard to explain it all. Anyway, so for me, I think that's the day that I chose to, because I don't want to cry every single day over it because it's just depressing. It's not what I'm choosing. I don't want to live like that. I have to live normally because I feel normal. So the hardest part is changing my mind. And I think for me, I had to really feel that day, which I think I cried the whole day. Pretty much. The whole way home, I was angry and just saying whatever I was feeling.
You were entitled to say whatever you wanted.
And
yes,
and after that, I felt like I was able to switch my mindset. I got out all of my shit, all of the stuff I was thinking, all of the bad thoughts. Because once you say it out loud, it's still very scary, but you need to say it out loud to say okay, that's not going to happen, and you can't. It's hard to train your brain to not have those thoughts come across your mind, but to calm them back down, I think for me, I had to get it all out. And then I'm like, okay, I'm never going to think that again. I'm never going to say that again. I'm going to visualize exactly what I want and in order to heal. Because I think the mental part is the biggest. It's the biggest hurdle. It's the biggest part.
And you know where that's almost confirmed? Now that I almost think this is going to become a therapy. I really do. The more we're being forced to articulate very precisely to make sure that our message is being delivered properly, but we're hearing each other. So what you just said right there, you want to talk about how we know that this is such a mental fuck more than a physical fuck, is that you walk into these doctors' offices and they look at you like you've got pink eye.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, I'll fucking get you a little medicine. You'll have 3 weeks of putting drops in your eye every 2 days, and you'll go to sleep, and you'll wake up. You'll be back here in 2 weeks, and we'll check up on you, and then in a month you're done.
Which it's a 6-month timeline, though.
Yeah, no, and it's obviously a much different timeline and a much different scenario. But for them, it's such a
routine.
It's such a routine that but because there's no emotion, so obviously we inject all this emotion into this, and that's the mind fuck part. And it just shows that these guys, if they can just turn the wheel and go and know and have confidence that these guys are saving people's lives, and the level of confidence they have in their ability to do it, it just shows that it's now our job to have the same faith, match that confidence, and not I don't want to interrupt you which I did, and I'm sorry. But what I keep defining it as is it's your imagination that's out of control. If there's ever, you hear all the time to live in the moment. There's fucking Home Goods. Home Goods has signs everywhere saying that shit, or whatever. Every Instagram post has something about living in the moment. I've never been challenged. I wouldn't even say challenged. I've never been so encouraged and willing to live in the moment than when this event showed up. And what I mean by that is a lot of times I didn't want to live in the moment. I wanted to salivate over that next deal. I wanted to salivate over that next accomplishment that I was going to have, which was never in the moment. Today I woke up My beautiful wife is healthy. My kids are healthy. I've got every need that I have met. And I'm thankful for just that. Mm-hmm. If I let my imagination wander, then I'm not living in the moment. I'm feeling something based on an imaginary scenario. Mm-hmm. My reality is what I just described.
Right.
I want to live that reality.
Yeah.
And I think that's the challenge for you, too.
Yeah. I don't know if I can necessarily, I feel like I lived in the moment before, honestly, but.
Good for you.
But I think now it's kind of harder to live in the moment because it is like messing with my mind, but I just try to like ground myself a little bit because I know that I need to be healthy in my mind in order to not like, succumb? I don't know.
Yeah. Succumb to it.
To the
there's a lot of
catastrophic news. I think that the biggest thing is I constantly am reminding myself of everything that I'm grateful for, because really if I think of a lot of people that surround me, I think that I was the best person to have to go through it, because I don't want my kids sick. I would take it all day. I don't want you sick. I don't want my family sick. I feel like I am the one that's able to do it. So for that, I'm grateful. And I have the biggest village, and, I've gotten so many text messages and flowers and everything, that it's like, how can I not like dominate it, I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it made perfect sense. It's just a very heavy statement, and I don't wish it on anybody.
No.
I don't wish it on you. I don't wish it on anybody. I'll just say it again. You are the strongest person that this could have happened to.
So I think that it's just important for me to share my journey with other people, so that, my biggest comfort has been talking to other people that are either going through it, which I have 2 girlfriends going through it, and they've been so, so, so helpful. And then the one that's about to, and ones that have gone through it.
And are on the other side.
It's very helpful to talk to them, and honestly, when we talk to them, they're always like, no, like, thank you for letting me help you. Like, for them, that feels good. So I want to be that for other people as well. And I think that if I put it out there and share it, maybe it'll raise awareness, and maybe I could be that for somebody else. What a waste it would be if it was just kept at home and I'm dealing it with myself. Like, that wouldn't really be fulfilling. Like, I have to find a way to change it to be positive, and that's hard with that kind of a situation. But yeah, I mean,
I'm so proud of you.
Thanks.
Just hearing you say that. And it's true, and that's what we've been saying, is that when Krystal gets through this, if she had chosen to take the normal path, which I would encourage anybody going through this to embrace this or find a version of this thought process to help them on their journey. Mm-hmm. If the journey looks like this: diagnosis, surgery, therapy, healthy, where's the reward there?
Right.
The reward is just that you're healthy, which is really the baseline of life. Like, we're almost entitled to being healthy. It's not an award or a reward. It's an entitlement, in my opinion. So why not create our own reward? Because again, what we have control of and what we're able to control, let's try to control it. Let's spin this into, wow, that was a really shitty experience, and now all I get to be back is healthy. Obviously, we want to be healthy, and we want to get to the end of that with health. But at the end of this, we want to be able to look back and say, how many lives did we touch? How many lives did we help? How many lives, how much value did we add back into society?
I mean, it's still shitty.
It's still shitty. I mean, I don't even think, if anybody's out there even thinking for a second that this is being taken, we could sit here and be in tears for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It does you no good. It does me no good. It does a listener no good.
I think
this is catastrophic news. Like, we have 4 young children, all under 7. I need my wife. I need my business partner. I need my bookkeeper. I need my travel partner,
I think that I was going to say the biggest thing to take away, I don't know if we're wrapping up.
We can wrap up.
The biggest
There's no rules in this one.
Well, I was going to say the most important thing that I think I've learned so far in these 7 days or 8 days is that in order for everyone around me to be positive, I have to be positive. I have to change my mindset, because if I'm crumbling at every person that I see and falling apart, it's just going to make them feel worse, and it's going to make them not feel as positive for me, and feel bad for me. And I don't want people to feel sorry for me or feel bad for me. I want them to be like, empowering me. And I want, so in order for them to feel strong for me and to put positive stuff out there for me, instead of it being sad, I think that I have to be the strong one for everyone. And that's why it's like such a mental mind game. And that's the biggest part of it, I think. And I don't, no one really talks about that part. Yeah, it's going to suck physically eventually. But mentally, I have to keep my mind strong.
That's a really good point, honey. That even other than maybe one is all, the people we've talked to, nobody's talked about how to keep your mind right.
Right.
So maybe we'll be the first. Not that they have not. I'm sure that at some level they have. They just haven't communicated that to us. I think it's important we'll end with this, because there's going to be I'm hoping that there's an influx of support and compassion and love and good thoughts and good energy and all of that and prayers. I think it's important to retrain people, because we are now different people.
Yeah.
Our lives are different.
Yeah.
So now people will act differently around us.
They always look at me like I'm a ghost now. If they haven't seen me yet and they see me, I'm like, it's okay.
And that's the point I want to make here. It's easy to say, because society has put this shitty perception on how to deal with tragedy. Oh, they need their privacy. Let's let them be. Oh, let's let them, they're dealing with something really heavy. Let's let them do that.
Who wants to deal with something heavy alone? Not me.
No.
Some people do.
Some people do, and that's fine. If that's your MO, then good for you. I want to retrain the people in my life that are listening to this, how I demand that they will act around my wife and how I expect them to act around me. And that is the exact same way as before.
Yes.
So we can still go out. We could still go to dinners. We can still socialize. We could still go to parties. We could still... I want people to reach out more, if anything, and say, we want to come be around you. We want to come and love you. We want to be... I think physical connection and physical presence, for me, it's been huge.
Yeah.
It's been huge. Because there's no right way to respond to this.
Right.
So that's the other thing too, is it's easy to look at the people that you tell and they don't even know how to respond.
Right.
Because there's no rule book on how to respond. So I'm telling you how I want to be responded to is love, support, and then go right back to treating me the way that you did. So that is my expectation for myself, and that is my demand for you. And if somebody wants to challenge me on how to act around you, they will hear from me. I think that's it. And
that's it for now.
I don't know if there'll be more to come. We may say we'll never do another one of these. We may say this may be the direction of our podcast. We may say whatever this is, but this is a bonus episode. We believe in being transparent, raw, and real, and that is...
real life fucking problems.
Real as it gets. So, I love you.
I love you too.
You're beautiful.
Thanks.
And that's the other thing is Krystal is perfectly healthy. They did her blood work.
And
they said that she was lacking vitamin D.
Don't even go there, please.
I was so offended by the doctor saying that she was lacking vitamin D. That we immediately went home.
God. Stop it. And got vitamin D.
Some vitamin D and
from
gave it
Target,
to her.
My favorite place.
That's it. No, but in all seriousness, they did say that. So if there's a few things that everybody should be thinking about, and it's made us think about a few things, is what we put in our bodies. There's a lot of shit out there, and it doesn't always mean that eating that way is going to result in something like this, but there's a lot of shit in our food that we just don't really pay attention to.
You don't have to be good 100% of the time. Just
even if you make a little
better.
adjustment.
Yeah.
So I know we
don't know if that's why. We're
No,
just
it's not.
speculating.
It's not. And I want to make that clear because Krystal lives a very healthy life. She's active. She eats well. She's in great shape. And so that is not at all how this happened. As fucked up as this is a hormone-driven thing.
It's called invasive ductal carcinoma.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe you should say, invasive
ductal
carcinoma. So I think for me, I try not to use the C word because I don't like it. But no, so this was a hormonal driven thing, and it's crazy because this happens to a lot of people.
1 in 5 women.
Yeah. And Krystal's a part of a group of 15 people. And in our lifetime, I doubt she's the only one that gets this.
I hope I am.
I hope so too. Because you already got it and it is what it is. But that's how common this is. So awareness. And good energy for my amazing wife. Because she is amazing.
Yeah.
That's right, baby. Own it, baby. There you go. All right. Anyway, she's perfectly healthy today.
Yep.
And so we're going to act that way. I love you.
I love you too.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for listening.
If you enjoyed the show, please rate, subscribe, and share our podcast. You can also connect with us on social media or at galindogrouprealestate.com.
Until next time, thanks again for listening.